American Javelin in work.
This is the story of men and women who take on the challenge and face the danger day in and day out. A front line where an invisible, deadly enemy lurks silently, away from the media attention. A search and rescue mission as dangerous as it is underappreciated. Since the first day of the invasion, Russia has waged an unprovoked and brutal, full-scale war. The country with the most land in the world is trying to steal the motherland of the Ukrainians. Although beaten back from its failed attempts to seize Kiev, Russia is continuing its invasion across Ukraine's south and east. The world has now heard of Bucha, Irpin, Borodyanka, and atrocities unheard of in the 21st century that took place here.
There were people, bodies they were finding with signs of torture, males, kids.
But even after the Russian army retreated, the battle was not finished. They have enacted their scorched earth policy and have planted hundreds of thousands of explosive mines and traps around Ukrainian homes, businesses and schools, hospitals and fields.
When the Ukrainian forces took the station back, they came back. The station was heavily booby-trapped with multiple UXOs and IEDs all around and inside the station.
Death and destruction lying in wait that will continue to haunt the land.
This was a booby trap. It was straight across from here to that pole behind us, and it had a grenade over here. So if you were to drive back here or walk at night not seeing this, you would basically pull this cord, trigger the grenade, and that would be end of you.
When explosive weapons are used in areas like that, over 90% of the victims are civilians, and children account for roughly half of the casualties from unexploded ordnance. Ukraine is already among the most mine-contaminated places on Earth, endangering children who live, play, and go to school in areas littered with landmines, unexploded ordnance, and other explosive remnants of war. According to demining experts, roughly 10 to 30% of explosive weapons used do not explode as intended, and many others are abandoned.
Okay, Jonathan, follow me step by step.
The task of protecting civilians and helping them get back to their homes and lives rests on the shoulders of the State Emergency Services of Ukraine and their demining teams. These unsung heroes, working with the fire departments, are doing the impossible, with limited supplies in the midst of an active war, protecting thousands of lives of the most vulnerable.
During the war, this fire station was actually overtaken and held by Russian soldiers.
These are high-caliber shells from a very big gun. This station was occupied by 70 Russians.
Some firefighters were shot and killed.
These fire departments were bombed or looted and are struggling with their own devastating losses. Yet, they go on answering to everyday emergencies as well.
We have no water, we have no power, we have no gas. We're basically camping. Yeah. And on this side, we have area for dispatch, and also we're trying to keep them warm so at least they have some kind of working conditions.
And this fire station's been bombed and burned, and they're already working to get a new roof put back on it. This is one of the fire trucks that was destroyed during the battle for the airport here in Gostomel. The Ukrainians need new fire trucks to replace the ones that have been destroyed by the Russians. While efforts are being made to re-equip these stations, the needs are much greater, and they only grow by the day with new relentless attacks and destruction of civilians and cities across the country. Nowhere is safe. The United Nations Secretary General has called this work an investment in humanity, and Ukrainian first responders need our help with this noble and extremely dangerous task. It's estimated that almost half of Ukraine's territory by now has been contaminated by explosive ordnance. People's houses, gardens, fields, parks, playgrounds, and roads, where children and their parents face death from explosion at any time. These first responders need an enthusiastic public base of support to get behind them and show them that we care and appreciate them for their sacrifices to make their cities, towns, and villages safe to live in again.
People around the world are rallying in support of Ukraine, and we are witnessing demonstrations here in Santa Monica right now.
Now that they have the station back, we're actually here helping clean up and helping get the station back in service so they can continue their duty to protect their communities here in Ukraine.
By many people giving a little help and makes a big difference.
If snowballs.
Yeah, that's it.
Destroyed flag with a bullet hole through it, the flag of the Ukrainian Emergency Services, and up there working around it. Ukrainians want to return to their homes and make them safe for their children. And even in the middle of the war, they do what they can. Demining teams fight on the front lines of that effort to make it possible. They need people in other countries who are motivated and driven to start local initiatives that will raise and send them the support that they need and materials they lack. They may have years of work ahead of them, but they need our help now, because supporting Ukrainian emergency services and their work of demining saves lives today.
І ми уйдемо.
Так, скільки у нас?